Did the government tell us everything? Well, this question has echoed for decades. It sits at the very heart of the UFO phenomenon. Many believe the truth has been deliberately hidden. They point to one program as the source of that secrecy. Project Blue Book, the USAF's official investigation into UFOs. It ran from 1952 to 1969. For 17 years, it was the focal point of a national mystery. They collected thousands of reports, but did they reveal all they found? The story is not just strange lights in the sky. It's about public perception. It's about government control of information. It's about military intelligence. It's about scientific inquiry. The project had to determine national security threats. It aimed to scientifically analyze the data, monumental tasks in an era of heightened anxiety. Their answers shaped public discourse on UFOs. The shadow of the project still lingers over government transparency. Official records list 12,618 sighting reports. The Air Force said the vast majority were misidentifications, identified as planets, identified as meteors, explained as conventional aircraft, explained as weather balloons, explained as atmospheric anomalies. That left a smaller, stubborn category. These were the unidentified cases. 701 reports remained unexplained when the project closed. That core group fuels ongoing speculation and debate. Were they simply sightings with insufficient data, or something extraordinary the government refused to acknowledge? Understanding Project Blue Book is essential to the modern UAP study. It was the longest-running official government UFO study. Its methods, its findings, its ultimate conclusions. Closure in 1969 seemed to end official interest. Yet the phenomenon did not go away. The questions did not vanish. To understand why new task forces study UAPs today, we must look back. We must examine the report they hid for decades, not just in locked files, but in plain sight. The late 1940s and early 1950s were a time of great technological change and geopolitical tension. The world had just emerged from the Second World War. The atomic age had dawned. The Cold War was beginning to cast its long, dark shadow across the globe. It was against this backdrop that the modern UFO phenomenon was born. In 1947, private pilot Kenneth Arnold reported seeing 9 shiny, crescent-shaped objects flying at incredible speeds near Mount Rainier, Washington. The media coined the term flying saucers to describe what he saw. His report opened the floodgates. Suddenly, people all across America began reporting strange objects in the sky. These sightings caused significant public concern. More importantly, they caused concern within the United States military and intelligence communities. The primary fear was not necessarily extraterrestrial visitation. The chief worry was that these objects might be advanced secret aircraft developed by the Soviet Union. Could the Soviets have created a new form of aviation technology that could penetrate American airspace undetected and with impunity? This was a terrifying prospect. The U.S. government could not afford to ignore these reports. They had to investigate. This imperative was the driving force behind the creation of the first official UFO investigations. The first was Project Sign, which began in 1947. Project Sign's team produced a top-secret document known as the Estimate of the Situation. This document reportedly concluded that the best explanation for the most compelling UFO cases was the extraterrestrial hypothesis. This conclusion was allegedly rejected by high-ranking Air Force officials, who ordered the report destroyed. Project Sign was then replaced by Project Grudge in 1949. Project Grudge operated under a clear mandate to debunk UFO reports, adopting a dismissive tone that aimed to reduce public interest and concern. This dismissive approach, however, proved unsustainable. The sightings continued. In fact, they escalated. The summer of 1952 saw a massive wave of UFO reports across the United States, culminating in dramatic sightings over Washington, D.C. Unknown objects were seen visually by pilots and people on the ground. They were also tracked on radar at multiple locations, including Washington National Airport and Andrews Air Force Base. The incidents were so significant that President Truman was briefed. The Air Force was forced to hold a large press conference to calm public fears. It was clear that Project Grudge's debunking mission was not enough. A new, more robust, and more scientific-seeming project was needed. That project was Blue Book. Project Blue Book was officially established in March 1952. It was headquartered at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. Its stated objectives were twofold: determine if UFOs represented a national security threat, and use scientific methods to analyze all UFO data. The project was meant to be the definitive government authority, designed to bring order to thousands of incoming reports. The process was intended to be systematic and thorough, methodology straightforward on paper. When a report came in, the Blue Book team began a fact-finding process. They would interview witnesses, ask for detailed descriptions, appearance, size, shape, color, behavior. They would collect physical evidence if available, photographs, film, radar data, then cross-reference with known activities, commercial and military flights, consult meteorological experts for weather balloons and atmospheric conditions, and astronomers for stars, planets, and meteors. Each case was assigned a conclusion, most identified with conventional explanations. A smaller number labeled insufficient information, others remained unidentified, unexplained after investigation. Project Blue Book was chronically underfunded and understaffed. For much of its existence, it was run by a handful of personnel, often a single officer, a sergeant, and a secretary. Many investigations suffered for lack of resources. The project's scientific consultant, Dr. J. Allen Hynek, astronomer from Ohio State University. He often lamented the poor quality of data. He joined as a debunker, but grew convinced a genuine mystery deserved serious study. His journey from skeptic to proponent is a key part of the Blue Book story. Section 4. Famous Phantoms, the cases that defined an era. Some cases investigated by Project Blue Book were so strange and well-documented that they have become legendary. They defied easy explanation and challenged the project's investigators. One of the earliest and most dramatic was the Lubbock Lights incident in 1951. Over several nights, multiple credible witnesses, including professors from Texas Technological College, observed a series of V-shaped formations of lights flying silently over the city of Lubbock, Texas. A student named Carl Hart Jr. managed to capture a series of photographs of the objects. The Air Force initially suggested the lights were reflections from a type of bird called plovers, an explanation the witnesses found utterly ridiculous given the object's speed and formation. The case was officially listed as unidentified. Another classic case occurred in 1964 near Socorro, New Mexico. A police officer named Lonnie Zamora was in pursuit of a speeding car when he heard a roar and saw a flame in the sky. He drove his patrol car toward it, thinking a local dynamite shack may have exploded. Instead, he found a shiny, egg-shaped object resting on landing gear in a ravine. He saw two small figures in white coveralls near the craft. As he approached, the figures re-entered the object, which then took off with a loud roar and a blue flame, rising into the sky and disappearing. Investigators from Project Blue Book found physical trace evidence at the site, including landing gear impressions and burned vegetation. It remains one of the most compelling close encounter cases on record. The Mantell UFO incident from 1948 is one of the most tragic cases associated with the UFO phenomenon. Captain Thomas Mantell, a pilot with the Kentucky Air National Guard, was leading a flight of P-51 Mustang fighters when he was asked to investigate a large, metallic, and tremendous object in the sky. Mantell pursued the object to a high altitude. During the chase, he radioed that he was getting a closer look and that it appeared metallic. Soon after, he lost radio contact. His plane later crashed, and he was killed. The Air Force's initial explanation was that he was chasing the planet Venus. Later, they revised this to a classified skyhook balloon and hypoxia. Perhaps no event demonstrated the limits of Project Blue Book more than the 1966 Michigan swamp gas incident. Hynek tentatively suggested swamp gas, and the public ridiculed the explanation. Section 5. The Condon Report, and the closing of the book. By the mid-60s, public and political pressure on the Air Force regarding UFOs was mounting. Project Blue Book was seen as inadequate. Incidents like the Michigan swamp gas case amplified criticism. In response, the Air Force contracted the University of Colorado in 1966. The university would conduct a comprehensive scientific review. Physicist Dr. Edward U. Condon was appointed director. The effort became known as the Condon Committee. Its final product would decide the fate of Project Blue Book. The committee was given access to Project Blue Book files. It conducted investigations into a selection of UFO cases. The project was fraught with internal conflict from the start. Memos were leaked, controversies followed, and some members were fired. The strife damaged the project's credibility before the report was written. In late 1968, the committee released its final report, formally titled Scientific Study of Unidentified Flying Objects, over 1,400 pages. Condon's summary: 17 years produced nothing of scientific value. Further study could not be justified. Most sightings explained. No evidence for the extraterrestrial hypothesis. It was the scientific verdict the Air Force had been waiting for. Based on the report, the Secretary of the Air Force announced termination of Project Blue Book on December 17, 1969. The press release said the project could not be justified on national security or science grounds. The Air Force declared it would no longer accept, investigate, or evaluate UFO reports from the public. For all official purposes, the U.S. government was out of the UFO business. The book was closed. The 701 unidentified cases were left as statistical anomalies, footnotes in a long investigation that concluded there was nothing left to see. The closure of Project Blue Book did not end public interest. For many, it only deepened the suspicion of a cover-up. If there were 701 unexplained cases, why stop looking? The desire for answers sparked a new push for transparency. A major boost came with the Freedom of Information Act in 1967 and its strengthening in the 1970s. The law gave citizens, researchers, and journalists the right to request government records, prying open filing cabinets at the Air Force, the CIA, the FBI, and other agencies. Declassification was slow and often felt like pulling teeth. Many requests were denied, but researchers persisted. Over years, thousands of pages from Project Blue Book and other agency files were released. The documents offered an unprecedented look inside official investigations. Witness statements, investigator notes, sketches, radar data, internal memos. For the first time, the public could see the raw data. They read details of the Socorro landing, the Lubbock lights, and judged the official explanations. The files confirmed some known problems. The project was understaffed, and many investigations were cursory. They also revealed fascinating details, internal debates within the Air Force. Some documents showed the CIA's early interest, fearing psychological warfare. Other files detailed quietly classified unidentified cases with little publicity. The records were a treasure trove for researchers, but contained no smoking gun, no crashed saucer or alien body. Instead, a pattern emerged, a government walking a fine line. Take potential threats seriously, but avoid public panic and ridicule. The result, a public relations strategy that downplayed the mystery. Declassification suggested the project wasn't hiding conclusive proof, but was part of a broader effort to control the narrative and manage public perception of a persistent mystery. Section 7. Blue Book's Legacy in the Age of UAPs. Today, on July 21, 2026, the landscape of the UFO discussion is dramatically different from what it was when Project Blue Book closed. The subject has been rebranded. The term UFO, UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena. More importantly, the U.S. government is openly and officially engaged in studying the topic once again. The Department of Defense has established new offices, All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, to analyze UAP reports from military personnel. This is a seismic shift, and it stands in stark contrast to the era of dismissal that followed Blue Book. The legacy of Project Blue Book is therefore a complex one. On one level, it can be seen as a failure. It was a 17-year investigation. It concluded with a declaration that there was nothing to study, a conclusion we now know was premature. Its methods were often unscientific. Its public-facing role was more about public relations than pure inquiry. The project's premature closure created an information vacuum. That vacuum was filled for decades by speculation, conspiracy theories, a dedicated community of civilian researchers who kept the topic alive. This long period of official neglect may have resulted in the loss of valuable data. However, Blue Book also left a positive legacy. The first large-scale centralized database of 12,618 sightings, now largely declassified and online. They represent an invaluable historical and sociological record. They tell us what people saw, where they saw it, and how the government responded. The 701 unexplained cases remain a powerful dataset, a core anomaly. The project and the work of its skeptical consultant, Dr. J. Allen Hynek, also gave us the close encounter classification system. Ultimately, Project Blue Book taught us a crucial lesson about the intersection of science, government, the unknown. It showed that dismissing a phenomenon is not the same as explaining it. Are these a threat to national security? What is the nature of this technology? These are the very same questions being asked by the Pentagon today. The difference is that now, thanks to new sensor data and a new generation of credible military witnesses, the questions are being treated with a gravity that was absent for decades. The shadow of Blue Book is long, but we are finally stepping out of it and into a new era of open inquiry.